THQ.
My name is William Stahl. I am the project lead on Full Spectrum Warrior, which I will walk you through right now. What you are looking at is a standard Army dismounted light infantry squad. It is comprised of two teams. This team is Alpha Team. This team is Bravo Team. By simply pressing the B button on the Xbox controller, I move back and forth between the team leaders of both teams. In the field, as a squad leader, I give my orders to these individuals and they disseminate it to the rest of the team. It's called chain of command, and we simulate that in the game. If I can think and give orders faster than they can react, that's a real problem in the real world and it's a problem in the game. Full Spectrum Warrior is based on fire and movement tactics. The first part of that is firing. In the real world, as a squad leader, I don't say, fire over here at this target, you fire over there at that car. What I do is I give the team a fire order or fire sector, and I do that by first pressing the yellow button or the Y button on the Xbox controller, and you'll see that it opens up this cursor system. I control this cursor with the left thumbstick, and when I move it back and forth, when I press the A or action button, I'm basically saying, Bravo team leader, I want your team to have a fire sector at this open aperture. So just by one button press, I've given the order. And you'll see how the team automatically reorients themselves on the terrain to get into a position where they can go eyes sighted. There's a very important distinction between eyes sighted and eyes not sighted. It has to do with reaction time. You'll notice that each man is not pointing the weapon into the back of the man in front of him. That would be what the Army calls negative training. It is an incorrect posture. If I wanted them to guard this building back here for some reason, I could do it this quickly, just like that. You'll see that they all turn and reorient themselves to point in that direction and cover that building. You'll also notice that one man, Automatic Rifleman Private First Class Elias, is not pointing at the building, and that's deliberate. He doesn't want to do that because this man, Grenadier Private First Class Yang, is in his forward fire sector. If he were to raise that weapon and accidentally squeeze off a round, or with that weapon, which is a saw, he'd squeeze off about 5 or 6 rounds before he even realized it, he would put it into the head of that unit in front of him. So he goes unsighted. That is correct procedure. However, if someone were to appear in this building, he would raise that weapon and engage that target, but the reaction time of having to raise the weapon, whatever it is, 0.1, 0.2 seconds, is enough time to get somebody killed in the real world. So as the player, as a tactician, I need to really make sure that I put my men in a position where they can go all eyes sighted. I also have another problem here, which is that this entire team, their entire focus or field of fire is on this building. I have no one covering this rear sector. So if one man was going to run around the back of this mosque here and open up for 1 second, he could spray enough rounds with an AK-47 to kill everybody in this formation. So I'm going to solve both those problems now by using what's called the nudge feature. You'll notice on the left-hand side of the screen there's a dial pad that correlates to the directional pad on the Xbox controller. If I wanted to go to my Automatic Rifleman, Private First Class Elias, I would push in his direction, which is left, and you'll notice that I go right to him. And now that I'm with him, with the thumbstick, I can tell him to move backwards, I can tell him to move forward again, I can turn him around in place, and you'll notice how he goes to the sighted posture when a man is not in his fire sector. If I bring him around further, you'll notice as soon as the team leader gets in his field of view, he lowers that weapon. That's correct procedure. I'm going to bring Elias around and I'm going to have him target the back of this mosque. I can have him sight high, I can have him sight low, I can have him sight a specific target. For instance, if I think there might be somebody in one of these windows or maybe along this roof line, I would just zoom in and press one button, A. And now when I come back out to the team level where I primarily play this game, you'll notice that Elias is both sighted and also covering the rear flank, although I've had him cover specifically the roof of this rear flank. That's basically fire orders. Coming over here to my Alpha team, the second part of the equation is movement. When I touch the left thumbstick, with no other cursor activated, it automatically opens this, what we call an action cursor. And I move it around with the left thumbstick on the terrain, and you'll notice that the camera is smart enough to keep that in focus. I am only operating this cursor and camera with one thumb control. That is it. All I'm doing is I'm giving them a position on the terrain where I want them to go as if I were pointing. And then with pressing one button again, the action button, I'm telling them to go there. And they will move there at their own pace as fast as they can and assume a doctrinally correct formation for open terrain, which is called a wedge or a V. You'll also notice that each man in the formation is actively searching for enemies. You'll also notice that the man to the far left, the rifleman of this formation, is not looking where the man to the far right, the automatic rifleman, is looking. That's calling crossing your fields of fire. That's incorrect procedure, and that is not what a professional soldier does. They're all responsible for their own sector in this formation. Where they look is determined by who they are and where they are in the formation. So as I move the cursor out into the world, you'll also notice that it's contact sensitive. So when I touch, say for instance, this building, it changes the order to wall, from V or wedge to wall. And you'll also notice that the center circle, the yellow dot, that's where my team leader goes. It's very important that I know that at all times. As I move this up along the wall, you'll notice that the formation changes automatically to corner formation as soon as it touches the corner. So with one button press, again, all I'm doing is I'm telling them to go to the corner and assume a corner formation. It's that simple. When they get to the corner, the team leader will automatically check that corner and report back to me if he sees anything. That corner is clear, so I'm free to proceed to move Bravo team up to the next corner. What I want you to notice is that the yellow dot indicating where my team leader is in this formation at the corner, he's in the rear position. By simply adjusting the cursor, I can move him to the front position of this formation. There isn't any menus. I don't have to go through a bunch of button presses. All formation variation is handled through subtle differences in the cursor on the terrain. And then all I do is press the A button to send them there. Although this time I'm going to hold the A button. All orders have a press and hold function. So if I hold the button, I'm telling them to move in a special way. It's called bounding. They move 2 by 2 with 2 men moving, always looking for enemies, 2 men covering. When the team gets there, they'll automatically check the corner and call for the second team to join them. Okay, this man comes under fire, signals that he has one enemy. You'll notice that they do not engage in the target until I clear them to fire. I check and make sure that there aren't any civilians in my line of fire, and I say, Bravo, you are clear to fire that quickly. You'll notice how they reorient themselves and get into a position where they can engage that target. You'll notice that they use the corner. Unfortunately, the enemy also uses the corner when he fires at them. This enemy is in a very bad position for me to take him out. He's got the corner and the car is covered. So I'm going to move back to my Alpha team, and I'm going to use them to flank around to this position in the mosque. That's why I have 2 teams.
Wait for the reload, Alpha.
Looks like I have a good angle on that target, so I'm going to quickly clear Alpha to fire.
Bad guy down. All clear.
Checks the corner. It's all clear. What you just saw was a successful flanking maneuver. That is what that's called in the Army. When you are in urban combat, the absolute worst place to be is in open terrain. You always want to move from concealment to concealment, from cover to cover. Being out in the middle of the street means that you have 360 degrees of possible attack from any altitude.
Return fire, Alpha.
When they see a target, they automatically go prone and return fire. Okay, I have another target here, over there. Now I have Alpha pinned in the middle of the street. So I have to go to my Bravo team, and I'm going to have them lay suppressive fire down on that enemy. He would rather duck than be killed, and I will quickly move this team to the corner. I have one up the alley.
Grenade!
Get down!
The team automatically gets down and reacts to grenades.
Keep your heads down, okay?
Bravo, circle around behind the mob.
Moving to the corner for cover. I will go back to the other team. I will have them disengage this target and move to a position where they can get that other enemy. Moving quickly. Alpha's still under fire.
Yeah, do it.
There he is, clear to fire.
Got him. Alpha's still pinned, men. Move out.
You'll notice when the cursor touches the enemy, I can give an order specific to that enemy. With one button press, I'm telling the team to move to that enemy and secure him. In urban combat, you want to secure your enemies. You don't want to leave their weapons laying in the streets because children come by and pick them up and blow their hands off, or worse, point them at me, and then they become targets. You'll notice one man covers the enemy, the other man removes his weapons. Alpha dug themselves into this corner here for safety. I'm going to move them back up to the front of the building. You'll notice the squad leader giving the command. We simulate the chain of command. I don't see him, but I'm going to have the team go ahead and cover in that direction anyway. I'm going to return to Bravo team and move them up the street so I can reunite my teams into a full squad. Always wanting to keep your teams together. I have no one covering Alpha's back right now. Enemy has returned. You'll notice how they engage. Ooh, you'll notice how they re-engage in fire automatically.
Take him out.
He's going to get away. I'm going to tell Alpha to cease fire. I'm going to tell Bravo to cease fire. Notice how Bravo is on their belly automatically. I did not tell them to do that. That is what a professional soldier should know how to do. When the cursor touches friendly units, I can secure them as well or give them aid. Unfortunately, this soldier died from that encounter. I'm going to have Alpha team go ahead and secure him. I'm going to move Bravo team up the street to this car. You'll notice my Grenadier covering my team leader as he secures that individual. Notice how Alpha automatically moves back to the corner for protection. I didn't have to tell them how to do that either. I'll have them cover up the street here. All eyes are now in the direction where the enemy last was who killed their friend. I understand that, but I need to break this formation up. I need more situational awareness in the middle of the street. So I'm going to turn my rifleman around, have him guard in this direction. I'm going to turn my Grenadier around. Notice how he lowers his weapon, have him guard in this direction. I'm going to go to my automatic rifleman, who's my high casualty producing weapon. I'm going to pull him off the car so that he can accurately cover where that enemy last was. Cars actually aren't very good cover. They tend to splinter under bullet fire. Now I'm going to move Alpha up and across the street to the next corner. Moving corner to corner, using cover when I can. I have 2 targets up the street. I will clear them to fire, and I will immediately bring up my second team. I am not going to leave Alpha stranded this time. I'm going to bring them up for support. Notice them engaging on the move. Okay, he's running. I'm going to say Alpha, cease fire, because I want to move Bravo up the street. I don't want to cross the lines of fire with Alpha. Friendly fire is a big problem in urban combat. I'll move them to this position on the car, having them run. Okay, there are my targets. You are free to fire at those targets. Okay, ambush. I'm going to go to my Grenadier, and I'm going to have him deploy a 203 grenade. Looks like I have another guy dug in down there. I'll send one more for good measure. Oh, he's dead. Cease fire. Notice how they take a knee, making themselves as small a target as possible in an urban situation. I will move them up along the wall to proceed down the street, staying out of the middle of the street whenever possible. That is full spectrum warrior. Thank you.